welcome back to Japan, where today I want to talk to you a little bit about Asian Kung Fu generation. Now, we're going to do a slightly different format today, so I'm interested to see if you guys like this and want me to do more videos like this. See, when we originally started this channel, as you might know, we started as a reaction channel, but apart from the reactions, most of it was just me doing straight off-the-cuff, unedited responses to videos and talking for about 15 minutes a piece. Then we switched over when we started doing reviews instead to doing videos which were much more scripted and much more tight. Then, since I've been booted out of having a studio and basically doing these outside, they've mostly been semi-edited videos where I've been talking but planning what I've been going to say in advance. So I thought, just for today, I'm going to go back to doing a video where I just waffle. And if you guys are interested in these and find them at all interesting, kind of like a podcast almost, then do let me know, and maybe I'll drop a few of them in every now and then because they're pretty easy to do. So what are we talking about today? Well, like I said, Asian Kung Fu generation, and in this instance we're going to be talking about the songs Flowers and Empathy, which both came out not a million years ago. Now, I was pointed towards listening to these songs, as you will know if you're on our Discord, by dear old Sven, who is a big fan of Asian Kung Fu generation, and when he mentioned these ones, I thought this is quite interesting that he's pointed out these two, because for someone who knows so many of the songs, why are these two so pertinent to listen to? Moreover is the fact that I'm someone who I'm not unaware of Asian Kung Fu generation, I'm not ignorant to their existence. In fact, I've got a few of their albums, and I've been listening to them for probably best part of a decade myself as well. So I thought, what am I expecting here? What am I going to expect? Now, on the worst side of things, when Asian Kung Fu generation are at what I would describe as their lowest point, is when they get into a slight middle-of-the-road territory. See, they're a very good melody writing band. They do very good melodies, and they know how to jangle out a good little tune, but sometimes it can descend into, shall we say, a slightly been there, done that a million times, and with other bands as well, sort of feeling. The only song actually that we've reviewed of Asian Kung Fu generation since I started doing this channel 3 years ago. This is a possible side effect of doing these videos as well. I think I'm about to be booted out of this building. It is a station shopping area towards closing time. We'll see if that happens during the video. But the one and only video that I've done of Asian Kung Fu generation during the time of this channel was one where I've got to admit, again, I liked the melody, but I wasn't wowed by the sound. It was a song, I can't even remember the name of it, maybe Sven will comment and say, which didn't exactly grab me hugely. However, I've got to say I'm very happy to point out that both Flowers and Empathy were really sonically interesting. And when Asian Kung Fu generation are at their best, they manage to enhance that fantastic melodic skill they have by putting in really good ideas, but never over pushing themselves to the point of doing something that sounds, shall we say, pretentious. They're very good at having an honest sound in whatever they do, and again, that comes through here. There's a real passion, there's a real feeling. Now, the lead song of the two was Empathy, and Empathy was a song that I had mainly been told, listen to the instrumental on this. And the instrumental was very interesting. It had some good drum work. It was very, if you like, skillfully played. I'm not saying they don't do that in a lot of their songs. However, as I say, they do occasionally have a habit of going towards strummy territory and, you know, maybe underplaying a bit. But this really did have some nice quality moments, and a lot of that was in the drum work. But what really stuck out to me about both Empathy and Flowers, but starting in the case of Empathy because of that musicianship, was just how clear it was, thanks to a really good mix and really good production. I'm so glad when you see bands who are using the modern available studio equipment to actually make their sound clear, to make it so that you can hear every single note. I love the dynamic mix, I love the production, added just enough effect on both songs to make them sound atmospheric, but not to detract from the actual quality of them being band-played songs. It just came across as something that you could really feast your ears on. And that also allowed me to hear just how many layers there were to both of these songs. Now, as I say, the musicianship was perhaps more obvious, more in your face in Empathy. However, Flowers might be simpler, but the layering was probably that little bit better. I like the way that it started with just that tiny little chugging guitar just doing the notes, and also it had a 3/4 rhythm, which is something we don't hear enough of in modern pop and rock. It's a really easy rhythm to do. I'm surprised people don't employ it more often. You get that wonderful swing feeling from it, which I enjoy so much as well. You get whole bands who do entire albums that only have 4/4 time signatures on. I always think to myself, could have thrown in one just for variation, surely. Anyway, it was great to hear that on Flowers, that you had this song starting with that simple chugging. It could have been so muted, it could have been pizzicato style guitar playing, just laying down the notes, that nice vocal melody coming in over the top. And it was a much slower song than Empathy, which I think actually ended up helping as well. I'll come back to why in a minute. But it was the way that it built up, and then when you get to the end, there is so much happening, and yet it doesn't feel crammed, it doesn't feel full, thanks to that studio work. But there was just this build-up of the instrumentals with the strings playing, the vocals, that same little muted guitar was still going quietly in the background, whilst also a much more passionate guitar was over the top. The whole band sound, it was something that sounded really full. And that gave a wonderful support to the melody. But moreover, on top of all of this, was the fact that it just kind of was clear. It never felt busy in a bad way, it felt fulfilling in a full way. Now, in regards to Empathy did manage to pull off all of those layering tricks, but I don't think quite as much there. Yes, the musicianship, there was more obviously skillful musicianship perhaps happening in Empathy than there was in Flowers. But I'm still going to say that I preferred Flowers on a musical level. I just loved the arrangement. I loved the fact that you could hear it so well. Now, moving on to why I think that Flowers worked better as a slow song. And you guys know, call it ADHD, call it what you will. I'm the sort of person who I always lean towards quicker songs. I always like my songs to have a real sort of in-your-face quality. Not even just the heavy ones, the poppy ones as well. I like that whole filling your ears with tons of sound effect. However, I think that Empathy kind of was hurt slightly by the fact that as catchy as the chorus is, it's kind of short, it's quick, and it gets repetitive. Yes, it is catchy, but I found even by the end of the first listen, I'd heard that chorus melody enough times that I didn't really want to hear it anymore. Now, this might be another reason why Sven suggested that I went for the instrumental version. Because, yeah, when you listen to it just instrumental, you don't quite get that same repetitiveness. So the vocal melody, it is a great chorus in the catchiness sense, but I think it could have been developed and had a little bit more, in the second time round had a little bit more done to it. But still. However, even then, as I pointed out earlier, the instrumental for Flowers was one that came across a bit better to me. I think it had more different things going on. So even on an instrumental level, I think I preferred Flowers. But yeah, the chorus as well. The chorus was really nice. I felt it used the singer's voice as well. Sorry, I've forgotten his name. It's one of those bands, I've known them for so long, but without avidly listening to the point that I just kind of know them, I know what he looks like, but I can't remember his name. Anyway, the vocal range that he has is a very interesting one, in that when he does those more MOR style songs, his voice can end up sounding kind of relaxed in an almost lethargic kind of way, and yet when he pushes it, there's such a nice difference between when he does that falsetto, and I think that's the right word, and when he's really pushing his vocal range, and the bits where he's sort of comfortably in the middle ground. There's enough variation between the two that it actually adds a real texture to what he does. So I like the songs where he pushes his voice more. Considering we're in a narrow alleyway and I've got the thing down, I was kind of hoping he wouldn't walk shoulder to shoulder with me like he just did. Yeah. Anyway, probably he's thinking, why has that guy got his mask down? He's probably right. Where was I going with this? Yes, so I like when he pushes his voice because you get to hear more of the different qualities. You get to hear a range from that more lethargic tone up to the energetic, high-pitched blast that he can do. So for me, Flowers, maybe the sort of song I wouldn't usually be rushing to compliment. A slower, chilled out song, but it did all the things right. It had wonderful clarity, it had that 3/4 rhythm to make it a little bit different from a lot of the other stuff we've heard. It made the most of the singer's voice. It had a variation of different styles of musicianship, from the simple underpinnings that held everything together to the more passionate plays that went over the top from the strings and the guitars towards the end. It had build-up, it had direction, it had a chorus. Did I already mention it? It had a good chorus. It really worked. Empathy was a good single, but kind of shown up by its track 2, shown up by its follow. It was catchy, but in a way that kind of got a little bit irritating after a while. It did use the singer's voice, but not quite as much. It did have great musicianship, but not in a way that quite kind of built with such direction and really felt that it had the same sort of, didn't feel like it had the same level of purpose that the second track did. So overall, I felt that this was really encouraging and that it made me feel that there is a lot of positive life in this act still. I really enjoyed it, and it's making me want to listen to more of them. I've kind of not been listening to them so much in the last few years and listening to other things, but this has got me kind of excited to go back and check out more. Definitely I felt that Flowers was a improvement on Empathy, but they were both good songs, and if I hadn't heard Flowers, I'd probably be raving a lot more about Empathy than I currently am, as I'm really only referring to it by contrast. I'm excited to check out more Asian Kung Fu Generation. I'll be interested to know what you guys think, as always. Get in the comments, tell me your opinions, tell me what you think about this format as well. Me walking around in a closed off station chatting whilst people walk past me, trying not to communicate any viruses. Fully vaxxed. Anyway, for now from Japan, thank you so much for Sven giving me this recommendation. Hope you've been enjoying the videos. As I say, get involved in the comments. The social media is all linked in the description below. As always, you know how it works. And until I see you very soon in Japan, for now, ciao ciao. Should I just end like this?